How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Blue Shifting. Welcome back to depression. Depression for two reasons. Number one, remember I said I was feeling sick last week and it was like tough to record stuff? Well, I went back to work because I started feeling better enough, but it's not gotten a whole lot better. And what that translates into is that like I'm talking normally, I'm not coughing a whole lot, but I'm still like tired. So I'm gonna try and get to the end of this chapter. We'll see how it goes. But I'm not gonna push myself too hard just because I only have so much in me. There's only so much I can manage to do, I think, so give me some time, give me some patience, I hope, and yeah, we'll push forward and see how far we can get tonight. But I'm excited regardless. I think it'll be a really good time, so thank you so much for joining me. We went to kind of, so Keiichi kind of returned his resolve to go back and finish off the uncle, you know, since he apparently messed it up somehow. And instead of finding the uncle there, he found Satoko, like, boiling herself in the bath overnight. And now we've, like, taken her out and tried to take care of her. We're taking her to the hospital clinic. And we're going to see how that plays out. And there's lots of other observations of just, like, she's probably covered in burns. She seems too light, so she's probably not been eating very well. It's just really depressing. So, not happy. And I kind of thought about afterwards, like, after the recording of the video, I kind of realized, I was like, you know, what's the problem is going to be is, like, what's going to happen when we get to the clinic? Because I'm guessing Coach Doctor is going to be there, and he's going to see the state Satoko's in, but he's also going to be, like, worried / like, apprehensive about us and what we might do. And so is he going to try and, like, take us? Are we going to be worried about that? And are we going to just leave Satoko there? I don't know. We'll have to find out, but I'm still... It's going to get wacky, I could just tell. And there's so much just, like, lore stuff that just is so bizarre. It doesn't make any sense. I tried to, like, suss my way through it all last night, kind of, like, talk it over, and I'm no closer to any guesses at all. Like, I'm still chewing on a lot of the interesting thoughts that, like, I've had, and some of you have reminded me of, like, little bits and pieces, and I still feel like it's so obscure. Like, it's so hard for me to wrap my mind around it right now, with just because a lot of the logic's kind of gone out the window at this point, and so I have no idea what to expect. But maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the whole idea, is that we're supposed to, like, it's supposed to be really, really confusing right now, and it's supposed to shake up, like, the purpose of that is to shake up my assumptions, make me be like, realize, hey, you know, you probably don't actually know what you think you know. So, anyway, let's jump right in, shall we? The hilly road to the clinic, with which I had never had difficulties before, was now torturous. Big beads of sweat formed on my brow, and at some point my breath had grown faint. The hatchet in my belt was heavy and made it hard to walk. I considered leaving it, but I couldn't let it go, at least not while Satoko's uncle was still breathing. The signboard for the Airi clinic came into sight, but I quickly noticed something was odd, so I stopped. Several red revolving lights were flashing at the clinic. 3 police cars were parked in the parking lot with their lights on. There didn't need to be much else to inform me something had happened. I didn't want to see Coach, so I had planned to leave Satoko at the clinic waiting room and give the receptionist a message. But with the police officer Ooishi here, I couldn't go inside so carelessly. Oh, this is so sad. Oh, Satoko, why? I don't freaking know. I gently put Satoko down in the shade of a thicket. There's the Satoko we know. I'll be right back, I added, getting to my feet. Cautious of my surroundings, I hid myself behind a car and got closer to the officers grouped at the clinic's entrance. I overheard the officer wearing a necktie, probably the leader, and a white-robed doctor having a discussion about something. Oh, you know what? This is about, Takano-san. That's why they're here. The doctor didn't seem to be Coach. It was one of those the Coach told to make the tea yesterday.
じゃあつまり最初に見つけたのは朝当番のあなただったと。それでどんな感じだったんです？
事務室の所長席のソファーに座って居眠りをしているように見えました。
Who?
で、 机の上に水差しと空き瓶になった睡眠薬があったんで、あなたはすぐに睡眠薬で自殺したんだと考えたと。それで
高熱と瞳孔の拡大に重度の意識障害も見られました。
Okay, okay.
睡眠薬中毒の典型的な重症例だと思いましたので、
警察も救急も呼ばずに。
Well, to be fair, he's in a hospital. Like, you wouldn't call an ambulance to take a man from a hospital to a hospital.
ここは病院で私は医師ですよ。生命が危険な状態にあるなら直ちに治療して当然です。
I think that's totally fair. Like, the cop better not give him crap for that.
ああ、まあいいから。それで
呼吸が不正常だったので人工呼吸を施しました。合わせて呼吸刺激薬を投与。効果が出なかったので人工呼吸器の準備をし。
ああ、はい。それでつまりいろいろ頑張ったけど結局ダメだったと。
Okay, so who was this?
そういうわけですよね。通報は死んでから直ちに。
はい、救うことができずとても残念です。
Just then, a radio in one of the police cars started to buzz, producing a broken mechanical voice.
こちら本部。小宮山さん、聞こえますか？どうぞ。
もしもし、小宮山です。ああ、お疲れ様です。睡眠薬での自殺みたいですね。遺書の類はなし。
Suicide? What the heck are they talking about? Someone had committed suicide at the clinic. But who? I wish Takuto-san dead, and she died the next day. And yesterday I wished Coach was dead. Then, could he have...
普段から睡眠薬を常用していたとかは。
It is a he.
あまり知りません。
日頃、疲れたとか死にたいとか、そんなこと言ってました？
入江先生は普段から
What the
ああいう
fetch?
性格でしたから。
What the fetch? Really?
とてもそんな風には。
Yeah, he didn't seem like the type. Now, maybe the news about, like, Satoko, her uncle, and all that stuff could have bothered him a lot, perhaps, but still, what the fetch? Like, if this were any other chapter, I would think it would just be a coincidence feeding into this idea that he might have a curse ability, but, like, it's starting to get really creepy. So I was right. Irei-sensei, they were talking about Coach. Coach killed himself. Why would he do that? There couldn't have been any reason he wanted to die. The only reason that came to mind was that I wanted him dead. This world was insane. If I wanted someone dead, they'd die. That was the kind of world this was. But what about the uncle? We've wanted him gone for a while now. Then what about Ooishi-san? What happened to him? If people really died because I wanted them to, then something should have happened to him too.
そちらに応援が向かいました。課長からそちらは応援に任せて大石社の捜索に戻るとのことです。
Oh my gosh, so he's missing.
了解しました。じゃあすいません。こっちに今応援が来てるそうですから、現場はこのままにしておいてください。おい、行くぞ。
The officers nodded and split up on the patrol cars. Did they just say searching for Oishi-san's car? Holy crap, searching for his car. That meant that he'd gone missing. So are we just an avatar for, what's his name? What's like the god? Like, if he possessed us and now we're just cursing people, it's like that, what the fetch? Takuto-san, Coach, and Ooishi. When I wished for it, the very next day, they disappeared. No matter how angry you were when you said you wished someone was dead, it didn't normally happen. Everyone knew just wishing for it would make them dead, and that's why people could utter such curses so lightly. But the curse I uttered the curses I uttered were being granted. At the time, I hadn't even been walking, and yet, tap, I heard a footstep. The footsteps again, and it wasn't only one this time. Tap, tap. They came from behind. And they stood right behind me. I think maybe the specters of the people who you've, like, erased, reaching a hand for my shoulder.
一体何事なんですの？
Satoko か。
It's like freaking panic attacking here.
脅かすなよ。
驚いたのはこっちでしてよ。いきなり大声を出さないでくださいまし。
It was Satoko. Her eyes were still unstable and focused, but she seemed to be able to walk on her own now. She looked far better now compared to her earlier exhausted state.
具合はどうなんだ？もう大丈夫なのか？
まだ頭が痛いですけど、いつまでもこんな格好で表にいられませんもの。
She gave a smile, a show of courage, but her legs were still shaky.
それより、これは一体何事なんですの？
Oh, she kinda liked Irie, didn't she?
今、警察が話してるのを聞いて。
監督が自殺したらしい。
Satoko was at a loss for words. Her face grew paler and paler, and I could tell she was doubting her own ears.
ケイチさん、それ、本当ですの？何かの聞き間違いじゃないんですの？
確かにそう聞いたよ。入江先生が睡眠薬で自殺したって。
Man, I don't know if I would have told her that. Satoko went down on her knees and broke out into tears.
嘘ですわ。監督が自殺なんて、そんなの絶対に。
What is happening? What is this? Ah! I watched Satoko cry and clawing at the grass. I felt myself trapped by guilt and remorse. I got so angry that Coach was treating me like a madman yesterday, that he'd betrayed me. I thought he'd be better off dead. But even Coach, who to me deserved to die, still must have had people who loved and respected him. Like Satoko here. In my selfish, egotistical anger, I wished for his death and it was granted. And now Satoko is crying hysterically as a result. The guilt tore at my heart. I worked myself up to murder for Satoko's sake. I decided I wanted Satoko to be happy. But was that really all it took? Murder meant taking someone's life. It meant making everyone attached to that person sad. In Satoko's uncle's case, of course, nobody would be sad. So I didn't feel a sense of guilt at all. But Coach's death was different. I had wanted to make Satoko happy. And that had resulted in me inflicting a deep sadness upon her, hadn't it? But Coach killed himself. It wasn't my... Satoko still hadn't stopped crying, but she seemed to be a little calmer now. Wiping her tears, she stood up.
すまない。
And the only thing I could think to say to her was an apology.
どうして謝りますの？
俺、昨日監督と喧嘩して、お前なんか呪ったんだ。呪ったから。
I don't know why you're saying this,
本当に死んじゃっ
Keiichi.
て。
Satoko looked at me dubiously for a few moments. Eventually her expression softened and she interpreted my words in her own way.
ケイチさんのせいではありませんわ。監督も大人ですもの。自分の命を捨てるに値する都合があって、悩んだ末に選んだんですもの。
That is an interesting way to interpret it, but okay.
誰のせいでもありませんわ。
She smiled a little, trying to comfort me.
いつまでもこのままでいたくありませんわ。服が欲しい。
いいのかよ。診療所に行って見てもらった方が。
服を着てから見てもらっても、別に死にはしませんわ。
Okay. Satoko readjusted her bath towel and started back along the path. Her stride was wobbly and it didn't look like she'd recovered as much as she let on. You help her out, dude. At first, Satoko tried to go back home, but it was time in the morning when people were going to school and work. You know, so after seeing people walk around, she thought better of it. She must have been pretty embarrassed wearing only the towel.
理科のうちに行きますわよ。私の服、あるはずですから。どうしたんですの？ケイイチさん。
Satoko noticed how I was hanging my head and spoke to me.
監督はああ見えても大人ですのよ。ケイイチさんと喧嘩したくらいで自殺するような人ではありませんわ。自分を責めるのをおやしなさいませ。
Again, we're in a backward loopy land where of all people, Satoko's trying to make us feel better. At first I thought it was a coincidence, but 3 people now couldn't discard the possibility. There was no such thing as impossible in this world.
この数日、おかしいんだ。
That right there is the best summary of how I've felt the past 3 episodes. The past few days haven't made sense. What the fetch is happening?
何がですの？
Satoko seemed to be having trouble breathing, but she still tried to listen to what I had to say.
おとといの綿流しのお祭り。お前は途中で帰ったから行かなかったんだよな。そして、 俺は祭りに行ってみんなと遊んだ。
らしいですわね。あの時は取り乱して申し訳ありませんでしたわね。
Satoko remembered how she blew up at me in the classroom yesterday and bowed to me a little.
実は俺、祭りに行っていないって言ったら信じるか？
Satoko looked at me confused. She couldn't help it, of course.
信じられるわけありませんわ。何を今さら。
信じられないだろ。信じられないのは、だって俺は祭りに行っていないのに、俺が祭りに現れてみんなと遊んだって言うんだ。
It is kind of interesting he's talking to her about this. I have no idea how she's going to react to it, but it is like, it's interesting to actually like hear him kind of say it, and I wonder what she's going to say.
こんなの信じられるわけないだろ。
それ本気ですの？
Yeah.
渡流しの夜からおかしいんだ。いつの間にか変な足音がペタペタとついてくるようになって。
The blood drained from Satoko's expression.
足音がペタペタ。
Mm-hmm.
そうなんだ。
Peto peto.
最初は気のせいだと思ってたけど、ずっとついてくるんだ。多分今もついてきてる。里子の足音と混じってよく聞き分けられないけれど。
Satoko took a long, hard look at me. Maybe she was doubting my sanity. I am. Coach did the same thing. I mean, why wouldn't he after calling him this? The more I thought about it, the more I was unable to endure the feeling that my hatred for Coach had been meaningless.
綿流しの日、俺は祭りに行かず、ずっとだぞ。眠ったり意識がなくなったりしたことはなかった。だから寝ぼけ気分でフラフラと記憶になく祭りに出かけたなんてことはありえない。
And that's also not possible too, because basically what they all say they witnessed you doing at Watanagashi would not be something you could do in your sleep.
それはおかしいですわね。ならどうやってお祭りで遊んだんですの？
だから俺は祭りには行ってないんだよ。
No, I can't let myself get emotional. If I get agitated now, it'd be like proving that there's something wrong with my head.
ごめん、みんなが信じてくれないんで、つい。
圭一さんがそう言うなら信じてあげますわ。それで？
あの夜、高野さんに会ったんだ。それで見下されたと思って、俺は心の中で念じたんだ。お前なんか死んじまえって。
高野さんってどことなくそういう雰囲気がございますものね。
Yeah, she does.
その気持ちわからなくもありませんでしたよ。
高野さんが死んだの知ってるか？昨日の話だ。どこかで焼け死んだらしい。
それ本当ですの？死んだんですの？
俺が死ねと願うと次の日には死んでるんだ。
Yeah.
それから警察の大石ってやつも知ってるか？ムカつく太った刑事みたいなやつ。
Keiji, come on, I understand he's not the best shape, but come on, that's feeling a little low. Satoko nodded a little.
さっき警察が話してるのを聞いたんだが、どうもあいつ行方不明になってるらしい。実は昨日あいつにも死んじまえって念じてたんだ。
Yeah. Yeah, when he says it like that, again, it starts really feeling like it doesn't feel like a coincidence. It's like, what did it say, like, once is a coincidence, twice is happenstance, three times? Now, three times is a pattern.
それ本当の話ですの？
Either it's true or I'm completely bananas.
嘘じゃない。俺だって信じたくないけど本当の話なんだ。高野さんも監督も大石も俺が死ねと念じたら本当に死んでしまったんだ。
For a little while, Satoko was at a loss. A long silence ensued.
それは怖い話ですわね。圭一さんにせめて嫌われないように気をつけませんと。
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm not sure how anyone else is supposed to respond to this.
それだけじゃない。もっとおかしいこともあるんだ。それは
Oh, gosh.
おじなんだ。
What a dude. I don't think this is a bridge you should cross.
おじさまの話はやめてくださいましな。
昨日いたんだろ、お前の家に。
あの人の話はやめてくださいます。嫌なんですの。や
ありえないんだ。あいつが、いるわけがないんだ。
めてって言ってますのよ。いや、
あの男が綿流しの夜以降、いるわけがないんだ。だって
あの男のことはもう嫌なんですの。
俺が殺したんだ、この手で。
Even the cicada stopped crying. Her face was streaked with tears and stiffened with even more as she looked at me in disbelief.
俺が綿流しの祭りの夜にお前の叔父を殺したんだ。だからお前の家に帰ってくるなんてことはありえないんだ。
What the fetch is gonna happen? Just throw it all up in the air. No logic, no sense, no intrigue. It's just throw it. But still, he went back. And last night he found out he found fault with you at dinner and made him and yell all sorts of things about you and basically boiled you in the bathtub. That couldn't possibly have happened.
だから俺はあの男を確かに殺したという証拠を確かめるために埋めた死体を昨日掘り返したんだ。
He's saying so much.
だがそこには死体はなかった。こんなことがあり得ると思うか。確かに殺したのに死体がないんだ。そして何事もなかったかのように帰宅してお前の前にこんなことがあっていいはずないだろう。
Satoko's entire body stiffened. She was shrinking away like there was someone in front of her about to hurt her. Yeah, because if she's believing what you're saying, you're saying you committed murder?
お前も俺のこと頭が変になったって思ってるんだろうな。
I'd say more than a little.
無理もないさ。俺だって信じられない。
圭一さんはきっと偶然呪った人が死んでしまったんで混乱してるだけに違いありませんわ。監督の自殺にショックを受けて気が動転してるだけなんですのよ。今日はもう学校を休んでお家で休んだ方がよろしいと思いますわ。私はもう平気ですから。どうかご自分の体を大事になさいまし。
Satoko spoke like she understood me, but she also told me to go home. I could see the revulsion in her face and knew that she didn't want to be around me anymore.
サトコをちゃんと診療所まで見送ったら俺も帰る。サトコだってまだ足元がフラフラじゃないか。途中で倒れたら大変だぞ。
私はもう本当に大丈夫なんですのよ。男の人にいつまでもこんな姿を晒していたくないんですのよ。
She wobbled up the shrine steps looking like she was about to fall. I immediately ran up to her and helped her stay on her feet. But then Satoko promptly jumped away from me. That outright rejection hurt a lot. Once she got to the top of the stairs, her breathing was ragged and she wasn't even looking at me. At this point, I was being ignored. Well, it was more like she didn't want to have anything to do with me. Really was a feeling of rejection. And that hurt me in my heart more than any blade could have. This was the path I chose for her sake. To be treated like this at the end of it all was just so saddening. Now don't be naive, Keiichi Maribara. You never wanted to be repaid in the first place. You didn't do it so Satoko would thank you. You did it so Satoko would be happy. And that was what led to this ending. Rika-chan's house was a disaster prevention storehouse used by the town council. If you went past it a little further in the shrine grounds, you'd apparently reach the back of the assembly hall. Satoko was heading there, walking quickly, gravel under her feet crunching as she went. Did she want to get there as soon as possible, or did she want to run away? I couldn't tell. And then I heard a vigorous sound of wings flapping. I turned around and saw a crow. I hadn't seen many crows since coming to Hinamizawa. Yeah, that's weird. It's kind of weird to bring it up. I saw them all the time in my old town, though. On garbage day, they'd flock the trash collection points, pecking through the bags with their beaks and dragging out the contents, having a feast. And I was remembering that. I saw a few crows flocking around the shrine donation box. And I thought how terrible it was for someone to leave a garbage bag in a place like that. The cicadas quieted. Uh-oh. And it's the chimes. Breathing stopped. Thoughts ceased. Even time came to a halt. I ran over to where the crows were flocking. I ran there in order to drive a horrible idea out of my mind. I definitely hadn't wanted this. There was no way I would ever wish for this, even by mistake. This is not. Oh no. Oh my gosh, what the fetch? What the fetch is happening? When I noticed my vicious approach, the crows flapped upwards, fleeing into the sky. When the crows' big black bodies flew away, they exposed the garbage bag. What the fetch? Why? What is happening? What had I seen there? A scream had escaped my throat before I understood what I was looking at. What was this? Satoko came over as well, realizing something had happened. And she looked down over my shoulder and then she screamed as well. This wasn't... The garbage bag was crimson dyed with fresh blood. Enough of this stupid roundabout way of saying it. That's right. Yes. It was Rika-chan. Our friend Satoko's best friend. Always easygoing, clever as a cat, but so cute you couldn't hate her. Our friend Rika-chan, she was... Rika-chan was stark naked. She was face up, limbs sprawled. Her eyes were like glass, just staring up at the sky. And...
Rika!
By the way, this sound you're hearing, it's so stupid. I've been distracted by this. You give it the violin. You pull the when you're playing violin, because I played violin. You do the strings. You're like drawing the bow across like the normal strings. There's a wooden bridge that helps like keep the tension. But there's on the other side of the bridge, there's a tiny bit of string that goes to like where it attaches to the base of the violin. And if you draw your bow across that tiny little portion of like the string, it'll make this sound. Satoko broke down crying on the spot. And yet she couldn't approach her friend's remains. The crows had gotten through the garbage bag, then they dragged out an apple peel and spread it all over. No. Crows, they couldn't do this. On the spot, I started vomiting. The sour taste became a bitter one, and I threw up over and over again. Rika-chan, her stomach was cut wide open vertically, completely open.
Rika!
What the fetch is happening? We have left all semblance of sanity and consistency. We're in just a world of hell. We're just in hell. Crows couldn't have done this. And from her open stomach, her organs, her bowels were dragged out like children's toys left all over the floor. That seems like the Watanagashi sacrifice festival, doesn't it? The unbelievable sight induced oxygen deprivation in my brain. Color left my vision, a pounding headache, dizzy, and I wanted to vomit. It was like the nightmarish remains of a ceremonial killing. Someone somewhere had killed Rika-chan, brought her here, laid her here with her limbs sprawled out, and then cut open her stomach and dragged out her intestines. Red and pink viscera were sticking out of her gut, and her intestines were scattered every direction, like it'd been fun. The entire ground was covered in an ocean of red and black. A few of the crows had hopped around inside that ocean. They walked through the sea of blood, leaving bloody fingerprints, and those footprints were several still left on Rika-chan's body. Those sinister prints made it even more like a bizarre ritual killing. I may have wished for Takao and Coach and Ooishi to die, but I don't remember ever wishing for Rika-chan's death.
そうさ、俺じゃない。俺じゃない。俺じゃない。
I stumbled backward and stepped on a newspaper. A newspaper in a place like this. The newspaper, what was covering my hatchet. I kept it wrapped up in my belt in order to carry Satoko, and that newspaper had fallen off. Sheesh, don't scare me like that. I bent down to pick it up, and then Satoko, looking at me with such disbelief as I'd never seen, and froze. She was looking straight at me, at the hatchet on my belt. Oh no.
落ち着け。サトコ、これは違うぞ。
Satoko, trembling madly, backed away.
俺じゃない。 俺じゃないんだ。俺じゃ。
She didn't care at all. She was exposing herself through the towel. She just trembled and tried to step back from the demon in front of her.
サトコ、落ち着いてくれ。
I mean, I don't blame her. I don't blame her.
頼むから、冷静になってくれ。サト。
Screaming weakly, Satoko began to run unsteadily. Run away, that is.
待ってくれ、サトコ。違うんだ。違うんだ。
The way she ran away, it was so weak, so slow. So if I wanted to go after her, I couldn't have caught up. I could have caught up, but if I tried to grab Satoko's shoulder or something right now, she might actually go crazy. So I had to follow her and try to clear this up. No, you need to call the freaking police!
監督を殺して、大石さんも殺したんでございましょう。おじさまを殺そうとして、理科まで人殺し！違
う！俺じゃない！俺は殺してなんかいない！
何を言ってるんですの？あなたさっき自分で言ったじゃありませんの。死ねって。死んでしまえって。それでみんな死んでしまったんでしょ？
俺は、死ねって思っただけで、別に。
自分で何をしたか記憶に残っていないんでございましょう。そんな人の話なんか信用できるわけありませんわ。
Dang.
人を殺した時の記憶が欠落してるだけなんじゃありませんの？
I mean, at this point, it's possible.
いや、記憶がないふりをしてるだけなんじゃありませんの？第一、そのナタは何なんですのよ。説明してごらんなさいな。
これは。
ほら、ケイチさんは殺人鬼じゃありませんの。
I mean, that's the thing, is like, he can't say no to that, really.
どうしてですの？ちょっと意地悪だったけど、楽しくて、優しい。一度は本当のニーニーかもしれないとまで思ったのに。
Oh, fetch.
どうしてそんな風になってしまったんですの？
I might have been able to slowly answer each of Satoko's questions at a time, but in this situation, explaining my innocence in such a short period of time was impossible. I mean, I didn't even know if it really was innocent anyway. At the very least, I killed Satoko's uncle. There was no body, but I killed him. Without a doubt. At that point, I was far from innocent. And I wish Takano-san, Coach, and Ooishi were dead. And that curse of mine was granted. When I wished for Takano-san to die, I didn't think of it as anything more than a normal thing you'd say to someone you didn't like. But then she actually did die, and I realized if I wanted people to die, they would. And then hoping it would happen again, I cursed Coach and Ooishi the same fate. So even ignoring Takano-san's death, Coach and Ooishi were completely premeditated crimes. Was I a killer, just like Satoko said? Was I unable to distinguish between illusion and reality and turn into a demon without remembering it, becoming a killer carried out Ooishi-sama's curse, Oyashiro-sama's curse? Not Oishi's curse. Oishi's curse is different. Oh, what a fruits is happening? And why Rika? Why? There's been literally nothing. The only violence that Rika's ever incurred was in chapter 2, when Mion went a little bat crap crazy because and it started because Rika like figured out what was going on and like, you know, it was all no witnesses type scenario. Why this? Why was she targeted here? No, that couldn't be. It was impossible. Dang it. The word impossible is impossible in Hinamizawa right now. How many freaking times have I said the words the past said that word this past 3 days? Satoko had started crying again and was walking unsteadily. At first it felt like she was still running, but now it was like she was walking away crying from someone bullying her.
どうしてこんなことになってしまったんですの？どうして
If there was an answer to that, then I wanted to know it too. Why? Why had it turned out like this?
ニーニーがいなくなってずっと寂しかったけど、ケイチさんが転校してきてくれて、またみんな明るくなって、楽しくなって、毎日が光ってたのに。
Dang, man. Yeah, she was right. Those days were bright and beautiful. And yet, after that, Satoko and I shouted the exact same thing.
どうしてこんなことに。
The cicadas are sneering at the spectacle, our strange game of tag. Shut up. Eventually, I heard the murmur of a stream. The forest parted and a suspension bridge appeared. Satoko was crossing dangerously, wobbling as though she might fall at any moment. And when I stepped up onto the bridge, it swayed a lot, causing Satoko to stagger and fall on the spot.
大丈夫かサトコ。
近寄らないで、この人殺し。
Satoko shouted. Her hatred made it very clear. It was sad. If words could cut, this warmth had then this warmth flowing from my eyes would have been blood for sure.
どうしてこうなってしまったんですの？ケイチさんのこと。大好きだったのに。
Oh, fetch. Like, really, really liked you. Like, seems like just like I liked you as a friend, but Daisuke, like, that sounds more like she had a crush on us. I wanted to go up to her and give her a hand, but the distance between us was uncrossable. If I got any closer, Satoko would start shouting again and say things that would hurt me deeply again. So I couldn't approach any closer than this.
サトコ、俺にもなんでこうなったか。でもこれだけは言える。リカちゃんを殺したのは俺じゃないんだ。それだけは絶対に。
いい加減なこと言わないでほしいですわ。自分の記憶にも自信が持てない人が何を言ったってどう信じればいいって言うんですの。
Oh, fetch, she's got us there. Oh, crap. How do we even know what we can trust about ourselves? I tightened my hands into fists. This is mortifying. I wasn't crazy. Hinamizawa was crazy ever since I wandered into it, lost on that one night. This insane world where I was a festival where I wasn't. An uncle I killed was alive. Where death would just come if you were wishing for it. It was this world's fault. Mion and Rena started acting strangely, like they were possessed by something too, and Coach wouldn't believe anything I had to say. And even Satoko, who I should have protected, was yelling at me like this. Was the price for killing a man supposed to be this high? Was I really going to be forced to stay in such a bitter world? I did the right thing. At least I wanted to. So then, why? I hated it. Every time I asked why, the day Satoko and I enjoyed in peace went so wrong.
サトコ、信じてくれ。俺は人殺しじゃない。
Not for lack of trying, at the very least.
では、そのナタは何なんですの？納得のいく説明はできまして。
このナタが怖いのか。じゃあ捨てるよ。それなら安心だろ。
Satoko did nod, but she seemed to be in agreement with that proposition. I clumsily threw the hatchet out of my belt and dropped it over the side of the bridge into the stream below.
捨てたぞ。これで話を聞いてくれるな。
武器を捨てたぐらいで気を許すと思いまして。
I mean, I can't argue with that.
ケイチさんほどの方なら私を素手で絞め殺すなんて簡単でしょうに。
Like hell I would ever want to kill Satoko. You idiot.
じゃあどうしたらいい？両手を頭の上で組んだらいいか？
そうですわね。両手を頭の上で組んで後ろを向いてくださいます。
It was a cunning plan, much like the one she used during club activities. Putting my hands on my head and turning away would mean I couldn't attack Satoko very easily. I immediately acquiesced to her request and since it would make her feel better.
これでいいか？俺の話を聞いてくれ。
Satoko stood up and carefully approached me from behind. And then she actually came up right up behind me. She was so close and yet I was so sad I wasn't allowed to turn around.
ケイチさんが悪くないのはなんとなく薄々分かっていました。
I think she just thinks we're crazy and I think she's about to do something not great to us.
多分
Oh
何
no.
か悪いものに乗り移られただけなんです。
The charm sound, that's never good.
さっきまではケイチさんが殺人鬼なんだと思ってたけど、私分かりましたの。あなたの目を見ていたら。
Uh-oh. I could hear that Satoko was still crying, but her voice was gentle all the same.
ケイチさんが人殺しなんかするわけがない。ケイチさんの体を何か悪いものが乗っ取って悪事に駆り立てただけ。
I mean, she's probably... at this point, I'm starting to think she's right. Was she speaking literally right now? Or was she trying to admonish me? I couldn't tell.
思えばひょっとするとあの人たちもケイチさんと同じものに乗り移られていたのかもしれない。 あの時は殺されるとしか思わなかったから。そこまでは考えが及ばなかったけど、今ならわかる。あれは、乗り移った、何か悪いものの仕業だった。
Okay.
サトコ、何の話だ？
It was less like she was talking to me, and more like she was talking to herself, like she was confessing at my back.
わかってるんですの。
Oh,
私。
I don't know if I like the sound of that.
身に覚えがないわけじゃないんですのよ。
What? Satoko's voice started to become mixed with sobs. Her pained voice tore at my heart. But I didn't know what Satoko was talking about. Remember way back when, earlier, where I talked about, like, what if Satoko was actually the killer, at least through some of the Watanagashis? Like what if she orchestrated some of them? Because her parents died when she was there. And, like, all that. Like, I said that a while ago. Like, what if she was inadvertently a part of all that?
西宮殿の屋根によじ登ったことがありますの。
Oh.
何年も前のことですわ。
This stupid storehouse. Once, when Satoko was playing hide and seek at the shrine ground, she climbed onto the roof of the storehouse for ritual implements where everyone said not to go near and hid. Then Satoko saw that she could get in through a window meant for ventilation. For Satoko, the word curse was plenty scary, but she was more curious about what was inside the unknown storehouse. She removed the grating window on the window and was already hanging off, slid her small body into it, and climbed down inside. It was too dark to see much, but after descending, she realized just how high up she'd been. Despite the darkness, she could see a few things around her thanks to the faint light coming in through the air window. And to her disappointment, it was just a regular old storehouse. She tried to leave, but the door was locked up tight from the outside and was made not to open from within. She would like to go back out through the ventilation window she'd come in from, but the window was high on the wall. There was no way she'd be able to climb back up. Satoko desperately tried not to cry, racked her brain, thinking of a way to get up there. There were a lot of birdcage-looking things hanging by chains from the ceiling. She took the hanging chains and strung them along the wall. If she climbed up the bundle of chains, she might be able to manage to climb up to the ventilation window. There was nothing else she could do, so she had to try. And she did try. It was dark and creepy, and she didn't want to stay there forever. The more she thought about it, the more she panicked. She climbed the bundle of chains. Satoko could hear the clinks and clanks of everything creaking under her weight. And then she just adjusted her hand to reach the window. One of the metal fixtures she'd used to stick the chains on the wall flew off, and the chains all began to pull loudly and fiercely every which way. Spurred on by the sounds behind her, she managed to get back onto the roof from the window. Because of the weight of the flailing bundle of chains, the other fixtures broke. And then one big bird cage hanging from the ceiling fell to the floor with a huge noise. Under it was an image of Oyashiro-sama, his vessel, and the cage took off one of the arms and trapped some of the other implements beneath it. Oh. It didn't take very long for her to grow scared of what she'd done. The deafening noise could be heard from the rest of the shrine grounds. A few other children heard it and gathered around. And of course, Rika was one of them. Then Rika's father, a shrine priest with an angry look, ran over. And then, as for what happened next, it was painful to remember. The only one who knew where Rika's parents kept the key to the ritual storehouse was Rika. So he scolded her, saying that this happened because Rika pulled a prank and hid me in there. He was very angry and menacing. Just looking at him was enough to frighten anyone. He exposed Rika's back, took a strangely shaped ritual cane or something, and struck her with it several times. Rika's words at the time, "It wasn't me, it wasn't me. I'm sorry, I'm sorry." That pitiful voice I still can't get out of my head. I should have said it was me. I should have said so to save my best friend from the false accusation without being afraid of Rika-chan's father's terrible temper. Rika gritted her teeth and cried in the crime she didn't remember doing. Ever since then, the world had been strange.
わかってるんですの。私には。これは、お社様のたたりだって。
Okay.
あの時、西宮殿を怪我して、親友を見捨てた私への天罰だって。
お社様のたたり。
父も母も濁流に消えた。意地悪だったおばも死んだけど、誰よりも私を可愛がってくれたニーニーも私を捨てて家出してしまった。そして圭一さんが転校してきて、やっと楽しい毎日が戻ってきたと思ったのに、今度は 圭一さんが取り憑かれて、リカも殺されて。聞いたの私。お社様は、本当にたたりをなすときは、本人をすぐに殺さないんだって。
Okay.
親しい人から順に殺して、みんな殺してから、最後に殺すんだって。
Oh, is she saying that she got cursed?
だから、圭一さんもたたりにやられて。きっと、今度はレナさんやミオンさんがたたられてしまうんですわ。そして、殺したり、殺されたり。もう嫌。
落ち着けよ、サトコ。たたりなんかない。誰もお前をいじめたりなんかしないって。
When I turned around, I was thrust away with amazing force. Given my hands were awkwardly placed on my head, I couldn't take the fall and lost my balance. And I'd been pushing not onto the bridge, but to the side. Uh-oh. Towards the stream. No, this can't be happening. Huh. As one last miracle, I was allowed to grab the cord hanging from the bridge. Far below me was the stream. We were pretty high up. Below were rocks of all sizes. If I fell, it clearly wouldn't be pretty. The entire bridge was tilting under my body weight. My frail little grip probably wouldn't last another minute before my fingers had to let go.
Satoko! Satoko!
I didn't understand myself what I meant by shouting her name then. Was I asking her to save me? Or was I asking her why she did this? Finally, everything came back into focus and I saw Satoko. She's gonna have her crazy eyes, isn't she? And I was surprised at what an odd expression she had. It was the first time I'd seen it. Oh no. It was an expression of righteous anger, meant only for those who needed to die. Fetch me, that's terrifying. It's actually not the crazy eyes though. Like, it's crazy, but it's not crazy as in like the psychopathic eyes that we've seen with the curse, right? As she screamed, she jerked the bridge to and fro. She didn't have to do that. I was going to fall anyway.
私はお前なんかには負けないんですのよ。たたりなんかに負けてたまるもんですか。お前になんか絶対に負けない。みんなを奪ったお前に絶対に負けたりなんかしない。
サトコ、これだけは聞いてくれ。
I don't know what my face looked like at the time, but seemed like it was enough to quell Satoko's agitation.
俺のしたことは確かに褒められるものじゃない。
He sounds really calm considering what's happening.
いや、いけないことだったかもしれない。だけど、お前に幸せになってほしくってしたことだったんだ。それだけは信じてくれ。
Just believe that.
こいつ最後の最後で圭一さんのふりを。
Satoko didn't seem to have any more desire to listen to what I had to say. And for that to happen at the very end like this was tragic.
お前に褒められたくてやったわけじゃなかった。お前に幸せになってさえもらえればよかった。俺たちはダメなんだ。お前が笑っていないとダメなんだ。だから、俺が消えたら、
Aww.
笑ってくれ。俺が死ぬことで、新しい生活を迎えたなら、きっと、笑ってくれ。それだけ、約束してくれないか。
喋るな。圭一さんの口調で喋るな。落ちろ。落ちてしまえ。
Fetch me. And those were the last words Satoko ever said to me. Those the sad, tragic, and altogether unrewarding words. What on earth was I? My desire to make Satoko happy ended up like this. Where did I first go wrong? And what was the mistake I made? When did I make it? Was I the crazy one, or was I Hinamizawa? I think the answer is just yes. Even after all this, I thought it wasn't crazy at all. It was the eerie world that was crazy. This world I'd accidentally wandered into that one night. Because that fun world where I never doubted all the crazy times we had as a club would go on forever. I couldn't possibly transform into such an abnormal world. The fun world wouldn't have ended like this, with Satoko pushing me to my death. In the end, I was going to be swallowed up by this crazy world and disappear. No, I'd probably already disappeared. Yes, probably. On the night of Watanagashi. I'm sure that in the world I really belonged to, I had vanished that night and everyone was worried. I was laughable that I'd taken this long to figure out I wasn't around anymore. Is that really... maybe that... the vanishing is just like people popping into a different world? Is that what it's supposed to be? Or maybe that's really it. Maybe we are in hell. Like, that's all idea is like the sinking into the swamp. Maybe that's what this is, that we're sinking into the swamp. It's just like a personalized little hell dimension for us. Oyashiro-sama's curse on the 5th year was Satoko's uncle dying and me disappearing. In the real world, Satoko had already been freed. Maybe my friends were all lamenting my disappearance and valiantly trying to get back on their feet. And even though they were down to 4 people, the club would reopen, and they would have a good time without me. Waiting for the day when I would come back. I'm sorry, everyone. I couldn't come back home. But this was what I wished for. It was my wish for Satoko's smile and my duty as her Nini. At this point, there would be nobody left to torture you. Because Satoshi and I, it took 2 years, but we succeeded. That annoying toothy smile of yours. We wanted to see it. One more time. Dang. That's an interesting idea just threw out there at the end. My pain wasn't gentle or merciful. It was sharp pain, violent, powerful, and ruthless. What little compassion I had receded in the span of a moment. And now I could die. I could say goodbye to this insane world. Farewell, crazy Hinamizawa. Thanks for giving me the psychic power to kill people whenever I wanted. If you still allow it, I'll wish for one last thing. The death of this very world, of this crazy Hinamizawa. So that nobody would ever again have to find themselves lost here. So he wishes the whole world was just dead. Dang. Is this the end of the actual chapter? Research notes 2. Like, not the chapters in like this like phase. I meant like the game. Like, is that just how it ends? Witness the final showdown. Alright, research notes. Oyashiro-sama. Nobody really knows what characters to use to write Oyashiro-sama. Knowing this is hard partly because, depending on the time period, he had been called with various titles, with subtle changes to his name, and nobody knows the real one. The only thing all the time periods agree on is that 4 syllables, O, Ya, Shi, and Ro, are always used. There's a theory stating the shrine of Oyashiro, dedicated to Oyashiro-sama itself, became the object of worship, and that people began calling it Oyashiro-sama, or Lord Honorable Shrine, but that doesn't make a bit of sense. I don't know whether this is related, but people say the Furude family, or the most respected bloodline in terms of worshipping Oyashiro-sama, actually inherited his blood. In the legend, the Furude family passed down for 8 generations in a row. The firstborn child is a girl. The 8th daughter will be the reincarnation of Oyashiro-sama. Wouldn't that be Rika? If we go by this legend, the characters used for Oyashiro-sama's name should be O for honorable, Ya for 8, Shi, and Shiro for generation. Okay. Our honorable 8th generation, Oyashiro. These characters' assignments are simply something I thought up. There's no way to verify it. If this is true, then Oyashiro-sama would have been named as such under the assumption he would come again. The second coming of an object of worship can be seen in several religions, so this isn't unusual. But a few of these religions call the second coming of their object of worship a day of judgment or something along those lines. We must not forget they meant it to be the end of the world. Rika Furude, pampered and loved dearly by the elderly folk in the village. The rumors say she's the 8th generation in Oyashiro-sama. I do not know the family tree of the Furudes, but at the very least I can confirm that the past 2 generations the first child has been a girl. Rika Furude watches over Hinamizawa. If the villagers were to lose her protection, what would happen? Would peace between man and demon be lost? Would it once again create a hellish landscape where man-eating demons run rampant? A gruesome feast of the demons who suddenly remembered how delicious we humans were, who could only cry, scream, and run for their lives. What would that look like? Just imagining it is enough to make my heart pound with excitement. That's the thing, though. Like, what if that's the real issue here? What if, like, Rika dying in every... What if she's technically... What if one thing we didn't know was that she's technically died in every chapter? Because she just vanishes from chapter 1. We just never see her again after a certain point. Chapter 2, she does get killed by Mion. She's technically the first victim. Besides, like, the mayor, who was, you know, selected by whatever the council of creepy culters, whatever you want to call it, cultists, that's the word. But then, like, Rika was the first to die, and that's when Mion, like, really loses her mind. And in this chapter, Rika, for some reason, is, like, used in the Watanagashi festival, like, I don't know, on the grounds, and but maybe she dies, like, around the time or the night of Watanagashi when we fail to kill the guy, and like that's when everything just goes crazy. Like, everyone loses their minds. Detective, yeah, I'll get all the tips in Tatrinagashi. So, okay. I could continue, because next is like the wrap-up ceremony, I guess, but that tends to be long, and maybe it'd be better to just do it all in one bit. So let's save that for next week. I know it's not, I usually kind of try to just run right into it, but last time it was really long, and I almost feel like I'd like to sit and think about things for a bit, and I can like maybe preamble my own like theory like properly, like after I think for a little while, and then we can jump into it and we can see like how my theory changes as they discuss things in the after party or whatever. So yeah, we're going to stop here. I hope you don't mind. I know it also sucks though, because like some of you are probably like waiting to talk about certain things until the very, very end. So I apologize for that, but yeah, that was insane. I don't even know, like I'm so numb. Like the problem sometimes with games like this, they get so like crazy and so much happens that when something shocking happens, I feel like it just like it almost bounces off, because I'm like, well, of course, because nothing else is happening. But it was so random. But that's the thing, is like this chapter has been so random and just so crazy that it's like finding Rika dead at the shrine is horrifying. But the craziest part about it to me is I have no fathomable idea why she would be targeted by anything. I have no clue. And that's the most flummoxing part for me. The whole thing is just so weird. I just don't get it. I'm so confused. And like so much I thought I understood is just completely out the window now. Or at least I think so. Again, we're having the issue here where we have the unreliable narrator, where I don't think I can trust what Keiichi's saying and thinking. And if that's the case, then what am I supposed to work off of? Because what's actually real? What's not? I just don't know. There's a lot going on. I'm very, very confused about it all. But I guess I'll just chew on it some more. Maybe I'll have some better ideas when I've had some more sleep. But for the moment, I think I need to just take a break here. So thank you so much for being here. Hope you enjoy. Look forward to the next episode, where it's basically just going to be theory crafting, because we'll do like the end card for the game, and then we'll just chat for a bit, and then I'll get ready to start chapter 4. Dang. It's funny, because we've been doing Higurashi for a while now. Like, what episode is this? Like, oh gosh, I can't even remember what episode we're on. But like, it's just still going, and I don't mind it. It's really good, but holy cow, there's just so much. Wow. I feel so sorry for Satoko. And that's really interesting, because like the one thing I think's odd, I'm definitely going to circle around back to, because I really think it's worth some consideration. It seems like a decent tip. She had a good moment where I was convinced we were going to see her crazy eyes, like her like the curse eyes that we've seen before. Like people who are under the influence of the curse. But I don't think she did. It's possible. So far, I think she and Rika are the only two I haven't seen any evidence that they've ever been under the influence of the curse at all in any of these stories. But I think there's something special about Rika-chan. I think that Rika herself is really somehow tied to this more than I think any of the other characters, and I can't figure out why. But like, it just feels like she's too steady the whole time. She's too rock solid, but then she also seems to vanish, or things that tend to happen to her. I feel like she's more involved than usual. And that whole tip at the end, this idea that she could be the reincarnation of Orishiro-sama itself, is really interesting as a concept. So we'll have to see. But it's odd, because if that's the case, why is she dying so much? I don't know. Sorry, I'm really out of it here. So we're going to stop here. Thank you so much. I'm going to definitely give some good thought to this. I'm going to see what I think about it all. And when we get to that, we will really dissect it farther. So thank you so much for being here today. Hope you enjoyed yourself. And until the next video, you're watching me up and see me next. I'll see you there.